Ever feel like things are, well, fine. Maybe even pretty good on paper.
Mm-hmm. Like, the checklist looks okay.
Exactly. You've got the basics covered. Maybe hit some goals you were aiming for, I don't know, years ago even.
Yeah.
But there's still this feeling, kind of quiet, maybe persistent, of being stuck or just not quite fulfilled.
Right, like you're just going through the motion, something's off.
Yeah. It trips a lot of people up, I think, because externally it looks okay, but inside it feels, well, disconnected.
Definitely. And that's exactly what we're going to explore today.
We're diving into this really interesting idea that maybe, just maybe, the biggest problem isn't your circumstances,
Uh-huh.
but specifically the way you're thinking about your circumstances. Your perspective might be the real issue.
That's a powerful thought. And we're drawing on some great insights here.
Yeah, we're looking at Brianna Wiest's essay, Signs the Only Problem with Your Life is the Way You Think About It.
She lays out some really specific indicators, doesn't she? Signs that point towards our internal story being the source of that stuck feeling.
Exactly. So our mission for this deep dive is to, well, walk through these signs together.
Unpack them a bit.
Yeah, shine a light on them, see how they might resonate with you, the listener, and maybe spark a few of those aha moments, about how your own thinking patterns could be shaping your reality.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Where do we start?
Okay, let's dive in. The first sign really gets to the heart of it, I think. It points to this disconnect between, thinking about life and actually living it.
Spending more time analyzing than experiencing.
Right. And it's not that helpful kind of reflection, is it? It's more like the essay says spending more time dissecting problems than you do coming to solutions.
Or getting lost in daydreams. Spending more time daydreaming than you do asking yourself what those thoughts indicate is lacking or missing in your actual life.
That's the key, isn't it? The essay points out we can end up replacing real experience with all this mental activity.
And then we feel unfulfilled because, well, we're not actually doing anything.
It's like thinking about going for a walk versus actually feeling the sun on your skin, hearing the birds. One's just in your head.
The other is, life. The thinking feels safer sometimes, but the living, that's where the fulfillment is supposed to happen.
Exactly. It's like being a movie critic who just reads the scripts, maybe.
Yeah. You know the plot, you can analyze it all day, but you miss the actual movie, the feeling of it.
And that lack of direct experience, that lack of feeling, it can lead right into the second sign.
Which is that loss of wonder.
Yeah. Finding no joy or awe in simple everyday things.
Things like nature being boring or thinking play is just for kids.
Right. Or seeing, like the source says, nothing awe-inspiring about a shaft of light or a stranger's smile. Or your favorite book in bed.
And the really sharp point the essay makes is that the magic isn't gone. It's that you've chosen to disregard it.
Ooh. That's the point. So my focus has shifted away from just appreciating what's right here.
Yeah. It makes you wonder, what are we favoring instead? Worrying, planning, chasing the next thing.
Whatever it is, that internal focus is kind of blocking out the simple beauty that's available, right now.
And that leads pretty naturally into sign number 3, which is about not enjoying what you already have.
This one's going to hit home for a lot of people, I bet.
Probably. It's when you finally get that thing you really, really wanted, a job, a house, whatever.
Something you maybe worked years for.
Exactly. But then, like the essay says, you don't enjoy it the way you thought you would. And maybe you've already replaced your desire for it with a desire for something else.
The goalposts just keep moving.
Right. And the shift in thinking suggested is really insightful. Bring yourself back to the feeling of wanting what you have more than anything, the way you once did.
So the problem isn't the thing itself, it's my current thinking about it. I've adapted too quickly, maybe, that hedonic treadmill idea.
That's exactly it. You're on the treadmill, forgetting to savor actually arriving at that point.
And the essay adds something powerful too, doesn't it? You're making yourself prouder than you realize.
Yeah, that's a great reframe. Your current thinking might be discounting the achievement because you're already looking ahead. But if you paused...
If you saw it through the eyes of your past self.
Exactly. You'd see the progress you've actually made.
That perspective of the past self, that ties into sign number 4, realizing your younger self just wouldn't believe how your life turned out.
Yeah, the source puts it very directly. You seriously could not have imagined that your life would turn out as well as it did, that the worst things became turning points, not endless black holes of emotion.
It's not saying life is perfect now, right? But it's about acknowledging how your thinking about the hard stuff changed over time.
Those challenges felt overwhelming then. but you got through them. Your ability to process, adapt, maybe reframe, it turned them into something else.
Into turning points. It shows resilience, which is often built through those shifts in mindset.
Absolutely. So moving from that past perspective to something very practical. Sign number 5 is about how we think about money.
Ah, okay. Always a big one.
Yeah. And the core idea here is the contrast between seeing money as an obligation versus an opportunity.
Like the difference between thinking I have to pay my bills versus...
Versus I get to pay my bills. Bills which, house me, clothe me, and feed me, and crucially, that I can pay for by myself.
Wow, okay. That small tweak in language, just have to versus get to, it changes the whole feeling, doesn't it?
Completely. One feels heavy, like a burden. The other feels like, wow, capability, freedom, even gratitude.
Yeah. And the essay argues, if you don't value money by appreciating what it does for you, you'll never feel as though you have enough.
Right. It's not about the number in the bank account, necessarily. It's about the relationship your thinking creates with money. Appreciating its function changes how you feel about having enough.
Okay, so that internal state shaping our perception, let's connect that to relationships now. Signs 6 and 7 seem really linked, focusing on friendship.
They are definitely connected. Sign 6 is about thinking you don't have enough friends.
Right.
Because you're measuring by quantity, not quality.
Counting heads instead of connection depth.
Exactly. And the source suggests maybe the problem isn't not enough around you, but that there's not enough inside you.
Oof, that's a challenging thought. It's suggesting the feeling of lack might be internal, like maybe low self-worth or not engaging authentically.
Yeah, something internal that no number of external friends can actually fix, which leads right into sign 7.
Okay, how does that internal state affect the friends we do have?
Well, you might become over-reliant or under-attached, and you get easily frustrated because deep down, you think that friends should make you feel better and happy in an unrealistic way.
Ah, putting the responsibility for my happiness onto them. That's a setup for failure, isn't it?
Totally. It's an impossible burden for anyone.
So because those unrealistic expectations aren't met,
Your thinking pushes you to either overbond yourself to them or disregard them. You swing from clinging too tight to pushing them away.
and that just reinforces the original feeling of loneliness or dissatisfaction.
Exactly. Because the core thinking about what friendship is for hasn't shifted. It's not really about the friends themselves. It's about your mindset regarding their role in your own happiness.
This ties into a broader point, doesn't it? Sign 8. Living mostly for how others see you. External perception.
Yeah, this is when you're constantly imagining your life as though someone else was seeing it, or you feel like you need to recite a storyline in your head before you make a choice or talk about something.
Like crafting the perfect narrative for an imaginary audience, and then she did this amazing thing.
Right. You're curating your reality.
Yeah.
And the essay nails it. This is what happens when your happiness starts to come from how other people feel about you as opposed to how you feel about yourself.
Your thinking gets tangled up in external validation and what you think others think.
And your own internal sense of worth, your own feelings, they just get neglected or pushed aside.
That sounds like a really fragile way to live. Your happiness is always dependent on something outside your control, other people's perceived opinions.
Exactly. It pulls all your energy outwards. Okay, shifting focus again. Sign 9 looks at our goals. Specifically, the trap of focusing on abstract outcomes over concrete actions.
Ah, like having a goal to be successful or have X amount of money instead of focusing on what?
Instead of focusing on actionable things like enjoy what you do each day or learn to love saving. Daily actions.
And the essay has that really clear line. Outcomes are just ideas, actions are results.
Right. Thinking only about that big, maybe fuzzy outcome can feel paralyzing. Like, how do I even start?
But if you shift your thinking to the daily actions, the process, the small steps you can take today.
That's where the momentum comes from. It
Yeah.
changes the mindset from, I need to be this thing to, I need to do this thing right now. Much more empowering,
Definitely. Now, sign 10 brings in a pretty stark perspective, doesn't it? Assuming you have more time than you might.
Yeah, this is that little voice that lets you postpone the important stuff.
Like reconnecting with family, writing that book, finding a new job.
By telling yourself, I'm only whatever age, I have a long time.
The essay is quite blunt here.
It is. If you assume you have time, you probably don't want it as much as you think you do. And then there is more time. You don't know. You could be dead tomorrow.
Whoa. Okay, that's a jolt.
It's not meant to make you panic, I think. It's about challenging that mental habit of procrastination.
Right. The point isn't do everything today, but more like,
There's rarely an excuse not to start. You're thinking about the future, this vague expanse of time becomes a way to avoid acting now. Maybe avoid discomfort now.
speaking of discomfort, sign 11 tackles how we think about negative emotions.
This is a big one. We often think that experiencing negative emotions is the result of something being wrong in your life.
Like anxiety or sadness or pain automatically means my life is broken or I'm failing.
Yeah, we label them bad and
Yeah.
try to just, get rid of them.
But the essay reframes them completely. It calls them signals, communications, feedbacks, and precautions that literally keep us alive.
So they're not the enemy, they're messengers.
Exactly. And if you think good feelings mean keep going and bad feelings mean stop, you end up paralyzed because you freeze up anytime you feel something uncomfortable.
You miss the information those feelings are trying to give you.
Which connects perfectly to sign 12, avoiding discomfort or fear.
Ah, yes. This is where the essay flips a common script.
You think that being uncomfortable and fearful means you shouldn't do something. That's the instinct, right? Avoid fear.
Right. But the source argues the opposite. Being uncomfortable and fearful means you definitely should.
Okay, that feels wrong sometimes. How do you know it's the good kind of fear pushing you towards growth, not just like danger?
The essay offers a contrast. Being angry or indifferent means you definitely shouldn't.
Ah, okay. So fear and discomfort often show up when you're stepping outside your comfort zone, doing something important but maybe risky to your ego.
Exactly. Whereas anger or just plain indifference might signal that something's truly misaligned, or you just don't care enough.
So the thinking shift is huge. See fear not as a stop sign, but maybe as a signpost that you're heading towards something meaningful.
Precisely. And that leads to sign 13, which tackles another common mental trap, waiting for motivation or inspiration.
Oh, yeah. I'll start when I feel like it.
Exactly. I'll start writing when I feel inspired, or I'll start the job search when I feel motivated.
And the essay's take is pretty sharp on this one.
It is. Losers wait to feel motivated. People who never get anything done wait to feel inspired.
Ooh, direct, but probably true for many of us.
And it explains why. Motivation and inspiration are not sustaining forces. They're unreliable, they come and go.
So you can't build consistent action on them.
Right. The core idea is you must learn to work without them, to gather your strengths from purpose, not passion. Your thinking needs to shift from relying on fickle feelings to relying on discipline, commitment, and consistent action driven by purpose.
Okay, sign 14 gets into a specific kind of getting lost in thought. Maladaptive daydreaming.
This isn't just like healthy visualizing or planning. It's more intense.
It's imagining extensive fantasies of an alternative life that you don't have to replace human interaction or general function.
And the source notes it often happens with repetitive actions like listening to music and or moving. And the purpose is key. It's used to give yourself a high that eliminates the uncomfortable feeling.
So it's using fantasy like a drug almost to escape the discomfort of real life instead of dealing with it.
That's the idea. It's a coping mechanism that becomes maladaptive because it prevents you from actually engaging with reality and solving problems. Thinking becomes an escape from action, not a precursor to it.
Which just keeps you stuck in the real world, feeling unfulfilled. Okay, that makes sense. And the final sign, number 15.
Saving happiness for later.
Putting joy on layaway.
Kind of. It shows up in small ways like choosing to check email again instead of just enjoying a beautiful sunrise or reading that favorite book for 10 minutes.
Yeah. Letting those moments of simple awe or pleasure slip by in favor of routine or obligation.
Yeah. And the essay suggests a really interesting reason why we might do this. Because your dissatisfaction fuels you.
Wait, what? You mean I might subconsciously need to feel a bit unhappy or stressed to feel motivated or normal?
It's a counterintuitive idea, right? Like your thinking has created this mental container for happiness.
A limited capacity for joy.
Sort of. The source even mentions creating problems in one area of your life to balance out thriving in another, because the underlying belief might be that you can only handle so much good stuff at once.
Wow. So you postpone present happiness, you maybe even self-sabotage a bit because your mindset feels it needs that struggle or discontent to function.
It's a complex form of self-protection, maybe, that ultimately limits joy.
Okay, going through all 15 of these signs, it really does keep coming back to that core idea we started with.
Absolutely. That so often the feeling of being stuck or dissatisfied or like life just isn't working.
Yeah.
It might not be the external circumstances.
It might be how our thinking is filtering everything, interpreting it, reacting to it.
Yeah. And these signs, they're not judgments, right? They're signals, just like the title says, invitations.
Invitations to look inward, to actually examine those default mental habits, the stories we tell ourselves about, well, everything.
Our circumstances, other people, time, emotions, ourselves, all of it.
They offer this amazing potential for those aha moments, showing how our internal narrative might be building the very walls we feel trapped by.
The life isn't necessarily the problem. The thinking about the life might be.
So thinking about that really challenging idea from sign 12, that fear and discomfort might actually mean you should move forward. What's one small thing? Maybe something you, the listener, have been avoiding. Could be out of fear, could be just general discomfort. What's one tiny step you could take today?
Not to solve everything, but just to see what happens.